Hey there, come on in, grab a seat, make yourself comfortable. So, tonight's explainer, it's going to be a little different. Think of this as, well, a private late night fireside chat just between us. We're going to look under the hood at the hidden operating system of our future. Because, look, there is a massive shift happening right now in the rules of the world. And honestly, most adults either don't fully get it yet or they just won't tell you about it. But I want you to know the secret.
You know how everyone's always telling you that the safest, smartest path is to just learn to code? Well, Yoichi Ochiai, he's this brilliant Tokyo University professor, often called Japan's modern magician and a top tech advisor to the government. He just dropped an absolute nuclear prediction. He says white-collar work, as we've always known it, is ending. That traditional advice to just become a programmer, he's saying it's basically a trap now. Let the weight of that sink in for a second.
Let's break down this old world versus the new world. See, in the past, humans spent years, literally years of their lives just dead memorizing complex computer languages, stuff like C++ or Python. And if you missed a single tiny semicolon, boom, the whole system broke. But today, the new world, AI models have instantly outsourced all that pure rote technical execution. You don't need to memorize the syntax anymore. Now, you just command the AI using your natural, everyday language, and it generates perfect code for you. It's wild. All right, so moving into Section 1, the new gods of the economy. We're looking at the two archetypes that will survive and thrive in this new landscape.
So, if the old way of doing things is essentially getting wiped out, who actually wins here? Well, there are two surviving paths, and they are beautifully entirely different from each other. Step 1 is the prompt master. Think of this person kind of like a visionary symphony conductor. They aren't up there playing every single instrument, right? But they direct and orchestrate the AI to create absolute masterpieces. Step 2 is the physical implementer. See, AI doesn't have a body. It doesn't have hands to build things. So the craftsman, the chef, the plumber, the caregiver, those people whose physical empathy and real-world presence just literally cannot be digitized, they become absolutely invaluable.
Let's look at a pretty fascinating real-world example of how this shift is playing out. Here's a totally counterintuitive secret about Japan. People usually look at Japan's shrinking population and think, oh, that's a terrible economic crisis. But the modern magician points out it might actually be their ultimate automated advantage. Because they're running out of human workers, Japan is facing this intense pressure that's actually forcing them to fast-track total societal automation. They are completely skipping that awkward, clunky transition phase and just leaping straight into the future. It's giving them a massive global advantage in robotics.
Which brings us to Section 2. Let's step into the World Cafe, a midnight gathering of global players.
To really grasp how this all affects the globe, I want you to imagine a scene with me. Picture us at a moody, high-altitude cafe right in the heart of Tokyo. Outside those huge floor-to-ceiling windows, neon lights are just blurring in the rain. Inside, the avatars of the world's biggest nations are sitting around this heavy wooden table, sipping coffee, secretly plotting their AI survival strategies. Let's look at the heavy hitters at this table. You've got Japan, precise, disciplined, kind of like a Shiba Inu, quietly focusing on physical automation and robots. They don't need the flashiest software. Then across the table is the US, super confident, major golden retriever energy, right? They want total hegemony over the rules and raw computing power. They want to own the algorithms. Meanwhile, China is sitting there deep in thought, like a Tibet Mastiff, just quietly locking down the entire hardware supply chain. They want total control of the physical infrastructure that actually makes this whole AI revolution possible.
Let's glance around the rest of the cafe and see how the global picture builds out.
Over there, you've got India, highly adaptable, enthusiastically spawning thousands and thousands of prompt-driven startups to command the AI. Then there's Vietnam, practically rolling up its sleeves, hyper-focused on smart factory execution, building the actual physical things. And then there's Taiwan, sitting quietly with incredibly high empathy, just observing the anxieties of every other nation at the table, all while holding the absolute most crucial piece of the puzzle, the microchip core that powers every single machine in that entire room.
All right, section 3 now. The secret engine, the theory of comparative advantage.
So where do you fit into all this massive global strategy? Well, I'm going to confide a really powerful economic secret with you. It's simple enough for a 10-year-old to understand, but it explains exactly why you, as a human being, should never, ever try to outcalculate a computer. It's called the theory of comparative advantage. Basically, it means focusing on what you do relatively best with the lowest opportunity cost instead of trying to compete in areas where you're just entirely outmatched. Think of it like this. AI right now scores a perfect 100 on coding and memory, every time. Even if you study until your eyes literally hurt and you score an 80, you're still losing. And you still need to pause to sleep and eat. So why compete on their playing field? Because, kiddo, this is the new rulebook. If you insist on competing purely on rote memory, the AI is going to win, always. But if you compete on empathy, wild creativity, and physical action, the human always wins. The historical advantage has completely shifted. True wealth and success in this new era belong to the people who lean into the very things that AI literally cannot feel or touch.
Let's get practical with Section 4, the Proactive Defense Plan, your everyday survival toolkit.
Now, I know hearing all this big picture stuff might feel a little intimidating, but trust me, you have absolutely no reason to be anxious, because we have a plan. This is your highly actionable, everyday survival toolkit. Here is exactly how you can start practicing for this new world today. First, let's talk about how to train your AI. Remember the prompt master? You need to practice being that person. Start using tools like Gemini or ChatGPT as your own personal underground manager. Like if you're stuck in a video game, don't just ask it for the cheat codes. Ask it to build you a strategic training menu to actually improve your skills. Or if you're overwhelmed with homework, have it generate a 5-minute summary of the absolute hardest concepts. You can even ask it to build a human-friendly daily schedule that perfectly balances your heavy studying with your free time.
The mindset you take into this is absolutely crucial. You have to always use what we call the high commander tone, meaning you command the AI. You do not let it replace your brain. The goal here is to act as the director, to build your own skills up. Using AI just as a lazy tool to instantly bypass your homework, that's a trap. Directing the AI to make you smarter, faster, and more capable, that right there is how you win the game.
Next up, let's talk about where to deploy your pocket money, or, any future investments you might make. I'm sharing 30 years of financial wisdom with you right here, so lean in. Do not chase pure software hype. Seriously. Instead, look to invest in the physical infrastructure. Look at physical automation companies, precision robotics, and the semiconductor and hardware supply chains. The companies that are actually building the physical bodies and the hard brains for the AI revolution, those are the ones laying the solid, unshakable foundation for the future.
As we wrap this up, I really want to reassure you about something so important. Look, no matter how crazy advanced the technology gets, your humanity is your ultimate superpower, period. The human heart is the ultimate unoutsourceable luxury. Your endless curiosity, your ability to be moved to tears by a beautiful song, your genuine care for your friends when they're down, these things are untouchable. AI can never, ever replicate them. They are literally the most valuable things you possess. Which brings us to our final thought for tonight. I really want you to ask yourself,
What is your unique human point? What is that one weird, beautiful spark inside of you that a computer could never, ever replicate? Think deeply about that. I'm entrusting you with these secrets because I know you have the power to shape what comes next. Well, that concludes our explainer for tonight. I actually need to go check on a Basque cheesecake I left in the oven. I'm really hoping for that perfect golden crust. Take care of yourself, kiddos, and I'll see you next time.